Welcome back. Today we are having our mid-year review on how real estate is performing here in beautiful Southern California. So I want to make sure that I separate fact from fiction. There's a lot of opinions out there and we all have them, but I want to give you the facts so you can come to your own conclusion. I want to start off with inflation. Yes, everybody is talking about it. If you have been watching the news or reading the newspaper or watching social media, you know that inflation is currently at its highest in the last 40 years. Last time I checked, it was at or around 8.6%. And according to the facts, that's the highest it's been in the last 40 years. Now, why did I choose to start off with inflation? Well, because inflation is having a direct impact on real estate across the US of A, and especially here in beautiful Southern California. There are two things that the Federal Reserve has done over the last 2 to 3 months that is impacting inflation and also impacting real estate. What are those two things? About 3 months ago, the Federal Reserve decided to put a brake on the economy. And it did that by doing the two following things. It decided to increase the federal funds rate and reduce their balance sheet. Now, I'm just going to leave it there. You can do your homework and look into what that means. What I will focus on today is how those two things or those two actions that the Federal Reserve took or did over the last 3 months is now having a direct major impact on real estate. As a result of the Federal Reserve increasing the federal funds rate and reducing their balance sheet, mortgage rates went up to 6.25 back in June. Now think about what I just said. The last time rates were that high was back in 2006. That is huge because back in March, if you were looking to buy a property, rates were at around 3.75 plus or minus 0.25, 0.5, depending on the credit, depending on situation. Fast forward 3 months and they're at now more or less around 6% plus or minus 0.5 depending on the situation. That is a huge increase. That will impact the demand and as a result will impact real estate. So with those rising rates being at around 6% plus or minus 0.5, I want to talk about two leading indicators that are giving us a pretty good idea of where the real estate market is heading here in Southern California. Southern California, Riverside, San Bernardino, Los Angeles, and Orange County. I want to focus on pending escrows. Pending escrows give you an idea of where the market is heading. Year over year in San Bernardino County, pending escrows or properties that are currently going through the sales process have dropped 38.7% versus a year ago in San Bernardino County. In Riverside, it has dropped 37.1% versus a year ago. In Los Angeles, 45.7%, and in Orange County, 50%. That is a reflection of demand. Think about it, we're in spring season. This is when demand goes up. Instead, year over year, it has dropped drastically. Simple answer, mortgage rates. So the second leading indicator that impacts real estate is supply. We talked about how pending has dropped. Now we're going to talk about supply. Historically speaking, a normal market is about 5 months worth of inventory. For the first time in 12 months, all 4 counties now have 2 months or more worth of inventory. Let's look at the numbers. In San Bernardino County, we are currently at 2.4 months. In Riverside, it is currently 2.1 months. In LA, 2.2 months. And in Orange County, it's also 2.1 months. All 4 counties are going up, and it's very likely that by the end of summertime, we might see those numbers a lot higher. And now, everybody's favorite subject, the median home price. Median home price referring to single family residences, townhomes, and condos. Now, I want to give out 2 different numbers, where the market peaked in these respective counties and what we have seen in the last 2 months since the rates went up. San Bernardino peaked at $515K Currently, it's at 510, 2 months later. Riverside, 598K, now 595. Orange County peaked at 988K, now at 925. Los Angeles peaked at 900K, now at 890K. The shift has begun and it's not trending up anymore. So let's tie it all up. If I am a homeowner, let's once again look at the numbers and let's look at it from a different perspective. If I owned a property in San Bernardino County back in June of 2019, my property was worth $300,000. At the peak of the market, it got up to 515K. That is an increase of 215, right, or $215,000. Riverside, back in June of 2019, 360. At the peak, 598. That is an increase of $238,000. Los Angeles, $600,000 back in June of 2019. At the peak, $900,000. That is an increase of $300,000. And finally, Orange County, 685 back in 2019, June of 2019. At the peak, 988. That is an increase of $303,000. Equity has gone up drastically. Now it's a matter of whether you choose to cash out or hold. That's your decision to make. And finally, to all my prospective buyers that have been out there looking to buy, look, I get it. It's been a very tough market for home buyers over the last 2 years. I don't think we've ever seen something like that. I'll tell you what my friend told me, who's been in the business 40 plus years. Date the rate, marry the house. You can always refinance down the line. You know that eventually those rates will drop. However, with that said, I would propose an additional 3 questions that you should ask yourself. If the answer is yes to all 3 questions, then move forward. First question, do you see yourself and your family living in the house 7 to 10 years? If the answer is yes, wonderful. Why 7 to 10 years? Historically speaking, that's how long a real estate cycle takes to go through. Question number 2, do you like the location? Do you like the neighborhood? If the answer is yes, terrific. And finally, are you okay with the monthly mortgage payments? From my experience, even though people can afford this much, they usually buy this much or lower, right? And that is a very personal question. So if the answer is yes to all those 3 questions, move forward, buy, because we know that historically speaking, property prices here in Southern California always go up. Thank you and God bless.